Shalom, shalom. Call Allah Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Machak Badash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who were well within this ministry and taught us this Amath, which is the truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the elect that preach this truth throughout the four corners of the globe, risking their lives and freedom to do so. Shalom, shalom. All right. First and foremost, giving double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone who were well within this ministry. All right, Lord willing, this be an edifying lesson. Salakia, bear with me, Baruch Shah. All right. Okay. This is another live stream lesson, walk and talk lesson. Another message for young bros. All right. In this ministry, being young in the flesh and also being young in the spirit comes with a lot of responsibility. All right. And which the Lord gonna bring you through a lot of things to discipline you. Because when you're young in the flesh and when you're young in the spirit, you lack experience. And in order to get that experience, you got to go through things, man. All right. And when you go through things, you should learn from them, which brings wisdom. And after that, you get the discipline. You know, the scriptures talk about that in Wisdom of Solomon, about how the spirit of discipline is basically within wisdom. Okay. Scriptures also talk about how wisdom, you're gonna be in her fetters. You know, basically when you come to this ministry, when you come to this truth, and you experience having this doctrine, being young in the flesh, you know, you got to become a slave. You gotta keep under your body. All right, you gotta become a prisoner of hope, like the scriptures say. You know, and you have to keep under your body, like the Apostle Paul said. Which means what? It means sustaining from a lot of things. All right. It means to basically keep yourself being temperate, having self-control, having discipline. All right. Knowing what's enough for your spirit. All right. And giving yourself to it. Restraining from things that's not good for your spirit and staying away from it. All right. Having discernment, so forth and so on. All of these things is needed, man. All of these things, you gotta be equipped with all of these spiritual skills, all these spiritual gifts, especially being young. So you're gonna go through a lot of things, especially now that we at the end. It's gonna come at a more rapid pace. You're gonna go through a lot of things in a short amount of time, man. All right, and you gotta have the fortitude, the mindset, and the faith to endure these things, so that you won't be sifted out. It's gonna be a lot of situations where you want to basically be your own man. Okay, there's gonna be a lot of situations where you want to do things your way and feel heard, and you know, so forth and so on. Why? Because you're growing up and becoming an adult. You know, you're coming out of that adolescent stage, and now you're becoming a man. Especially when you come into this truth. And now you want to take on some responsibilities, but you go, hold on. You got to slow it down, man, because it's a lot of things that you got to get taught first before you get these certain blessings to be a man. You got to learn how to sustain these things, man. All right. For example, having a woman. All right. You can't just stick your rod in every woman. You got to have discipline with your rod. Not only that, you got to know how to deal with a woman. God damn it, man. What the fuck was that? Salakia. You got to know how to have discipline with your rod, and you got to know how to deal with a woman, man, according to the scriptures. You know, the Lord not just about to give no green ass brother a woman because he asked for it. And if he do, it's a test for you. You know? Whether it's trial and error or whether you do the right thing and you pass the test. But the point is, I'm using a woman as an example because a lot of times that's what get used for the try to sift you out this truth. Satan will use that to try to sift you out this truth, especially being young, being in the flesh, man. That's the first thing, you know, you want to deal with women. That's what, as a man, naturally, that's the breakdown. It's time to start dealing. You know, I'm growing up in the world now. It's time to deal with these women as far as having sex, man. You know, but you got to know the things that come with it, and you got to know how to prepare yourself. You got to know how to move accordingly while still maintaining your integrity in this ministry, being in this truth. And there's been grown ass men, all right, that have fallen out this truth over women. It's been men who were considered once elders in this ministry that fell out the truth behind women. All right, the scriptures talk about how wine and women maketh a man to fall, roughly paraphrasing, very roughly paraphrased. But hey, man, especially now living in Babylon, these wicked ass women, and half these bitches be witches. You know, no pun intended, bro, for real. Half these women, especially these Keishas and these different women of our nation, all right, a lot of women, shit, just in general, it don't matter what nation they are, but specifically our women because of the curses and the things, you know, how our women have been corrupted by this rulership of Esau, especially our women. Beware of these fucking women when you're young in the flesh and you dealing, man, and you in the truth. Beware of these women. Know what you doing, man. Know what you dealing with. Know what type of woman you dealing with before you lay down with the woman, man. Okay? And if you one of them brothers that's just trying to get one off, get a harlot. It's best to just buy a harlot. Do it that way. Oldest profession in the oldest profession in the book, as they say. But the point being, man, is these is the certain things you deal with when you come into this truth as a young man. And these are the things that you have to beware of. Another thing is pride. Like I was talking about earlier, as you get older, being young, you know, as you start to come into adulthood, you want to do things on your own. You want to figure out your own way in the world. You want to be your own man, so to speak. All right? Which can lead to pride in a lot of ways. And in this truth, you have to be submissive. All right? It's a must. It's mandatory that you be submissive coming into this truth. Because the scriptures say what? Yahushua said, Salakia. Yahushua said, you come in this truth, you come as a babe, meaning you come as a baby. So when you're a baby, you have to be taken care of by an adult. You have to be trained. You have to be fed with the milk until you're able to take the meat. Eat the meat, man. Eat the weightier things of the scriptures, the weightier things of life, okay? But first you have to be taught the littler things, the littler lessons, the basics, in which when you're young, you don't know shit, man. You don't know nothing. You have to be taught, which means you have to be submissive in order to be fed, man. Don't nobody want to teach or feed nobody that's biting the hand that's feeding them. Don't nobody want to teach nobody that's not listening, that don't want to be taught, that's not submissive unto the lesson that's being preached, man. So being young, you have to be submissive. Your mind has to be like a sponge, like the elder brother Ma'ai always say. You got to be a sponge in this truth. Which means you got to soak up everything, man. You got to soak up the way the brothers deal with each other. You got to soak up the way the elders move and the way they do. They apply the scriptures in the way, you know, how they deal with the body and how they deal with themselves. And take that and apply it to yourself. You got to soak up everything. You got to soak up the scriptures, the little moments, the big moments. All right. You got to eat the roll. You got to soak up everything, man, so that you can be properly fed. And eventually you're going to grow. You're going to see your growth and you're going to see how far you came from when you were not at that level. And it's going to boost your faith, man. And you know what? Other brothers gonna see your growth. It's gonna boost their faith. It's important for you young brothers to grow, man. Because the young, bro, the Lord deal with the young. Not saying the Lord don't deal with the older in the flesh. And even the older in the flesh, they still young. Being in your 30s and 40s, that's really still young. According to the scriptures, it's just that we in this flesh and we in this captivity. This is the last captivity. And we in the most weakest flesh, all right, that you can never be in. That's just what it is, man. But really, ages that people dying at 70, 80, that's really young, man, compared to our forefathers, how long they used to live, which is really life. That's real life. So getting back to the point, all right, when you're young, it come with a lot of things, man, and you have to be 10 times more circumspect. Another thing you got to look out for is just worldly demons. Going back to what I was saying earlier on the pride subject, when you're young and you start to grow into adulthood, you want to be your own man and experience grown man shit. You want to experience adulthood to its fullest. Kind of when you're young, you can kind of be overzealous depending on what type of person you are, you know. But the point being is, you want to experience what adulthood is really like. And a lot of times, man, certain shit get construed of what adulthood really is. You know, just because you old enough to do certain things don't mean you should really do it. Like the scriptures say, see what is good for thy spirit, or see what's evil for thy spirit, stay away from it, man. Roughly paraphrasing. Very roughly paraphrasing. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Zakwan. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Bakatah, brother. And yeah, man, going back to the, you know what I'm saying, being in this truth, when you're young, you want to experience a lot of adulthood things, man. But all of that shit is other world. When you're in this truth, you can't do all of that shit. Like, for example, you may want to hit the clubbing scene. You never been to a club before. You never been around that certain type of facility or certain type of thing. You may want to do that to experience that for the first time. It's cool to do. Ain't nothing, it's not off to do. All right. But you got to know how to have temperance. You got to know how to have discipline to deal with those type of sceneries and crowds, man, because it comes with heavy spirits and it comes with judgment. Because those heavy spirits, what you think they're there to do, they're there to judge, exact judgments. And you being there, you being young, those spirits can overtake you. Because once again, when you're young, you don't know nothing, man. You're very vulnerable to a lot of things and a lot of spirits. A lot of people take advantage of that, man. So when you're young in this truth, you got to be equipped with you got to be equipped with like it says in Ephesians, the 2nd chapter, having a breastplate of righteousness, having a shield of faith, you know, having your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel. You got to have these things. You got to read. When you have to read. It's a must. It's mandatory. You don't know nothing, so in order for you to know anything, you got to read. Reading is going to cause you to ask questions, which you're going to get your questions answered by brothers, or you could just go and look up the breakdown on the internet, man. Everything, see, the Lord at the end, these end times, the Lord literally laid it out for these brothers, these young brothers that's coming in. I'm still a young brother, but I'm talking about brothers that's coming in, like I'll say so-called teenage years. You know, if you in your teens or you still in high school, so to speak, even brothers, shit, that's like 8 years old, man. 8, 9, 10 years old, 12, 11 years old coming into the truth. You know, you having it's a lot of things, man, especially the different thrills that the different thrills of this world and the youth that they indulge in. You know, all of the different trendy shit that the youth is into now. All that shit wicked, man. All that shit vain, man. You're not missing out on nothing by sustaining yourself from that. Being in this truth. Oh, now that you're in the truth, you can't do this no more. Now that I'm in the truth, I can't do that no more. You know what I'm saying? It's that you're not missing out on nothing, man. And a lot of things, if you increase in the spirit and if you increase in discernment, you just got to have temperance in doing what you're doing, man. And you'll start to figure out, like, okay, it's not unlawful for me to do this. I just have to have temperance in it. Like, for example, like I made going out, enjoying yourself. You might go out to just go out to eat. You know what I'm saying? Throw on some nice clothes, go out to eat, treat yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you got to be temperate in doing that, man. You may go out with your girl, take your girl out somewhere. Y'all go out, have a, you know what I'm saying? Go watch a movie, go do anything you do too much, it could become a habit and it could become evil into you, man. The scriptures talk about doing all things in decency and order. So first become established in this truth before you try to figure out having balance and doing things in the world. Establish yourself in this truth, man. Being young, being not knowing nothing, okay? Excommunicate yourself from the world. Romans 12:1 and 2. Well, I'll quote Romans 12:2 first and foremost. I'll quote Romans 12:2. Not being not to be conformed to the ways of this world, not conforming to the ways of this world, but being renewed in your by the renewing of the spirit, man. Being renewed in your mind, by being transformed in your mind by the renewing of the spirit, roughly paraphrasing. Very roughly paraphrasing, Salakia. But that's what you cannot conform to the ways of this world. And when you're young, those demons are there to entice you to do that. Whether it's something you haven't experienced before, or you can't let go of that old clique you used to hang with, or they can't let go of you, or whatever the fuck it is, man. Dead that shit. Only you know what it is. Only brothers who themselves dealing in their life, only they know what it is. It's between you and the Lord and whatever brother you share it with, or however it get revealed. But hey, man, we all know what we're supposed to be doing in this truth. The Lord ain't hide it from us. The scriptures talk about how he revealed his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. I'm gonna read these scriptures that's brothers putting up the water. This is Sirach 37:27. My son, prove thy soul and thy life, and see what is evil for it, and give not that into it. So that, what does that mean? Experience. You're gonna have to go through things. All right. In order for me to know that drinking is not for me, I will have to drink first. You got to get that experience. In order for to know certain things is for you to do, okay, this is my niche. This is actually good for my spirit. I got to go through that trying experience, man. All right. And that's you got to go through hell. You got to go through tribulation. And that's how you get that experience to know what's good for your soul and what's evil for it, so that you could sustain from this and give yourself to that. Continuing on in this scripture, it says, verse 28, for all things are not profitable for all men, neither have every soul pleasure in everything, because every brother's spirit is different. The Lord made every brother peculiarly unique. Every stone is different from the last stone that was made, man. And brothers is like precious stones. All right. Labradorite is not the same as lapis lazuli, even though they both blue. Carnelian is not the same as sardis, even though they look the same. They got that orangish red color. They have different properties. All right. And they're different stones. So it's the same way with brothers, man. Everything that's profitable for that brother ain't profitable for you. Everything that's profitable for that brother, you know what I'm saying? You got to know these things, man. And it comes by experience and discernment. And the Lord, those are spiritual gifts that the Lord has given us, man. You got to utilize it. And being a young brother in this truth, okay, we got elders that watch over our souls that's going to lead us in the right direction. So we good, man. You got to trust in the men that the Lord has set over you. You got to trust in that, man. Whatever demons that, try to come in between it, or whatever situations that try to come in between it, fast and pray, you talk to that brother, you get over it, man. You know what I'm saying? And you move on, because the fear of the Lord is greater than that. If you love the Lord, it's greater than any ought or situation you got with a brother. That's just side note. But getting back to the point, I'm gonna read this next scripture, Revelation 1:3. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. Right? Because I was making the point about brothers reading. Me myself, you know, I read, but I should read more than I read. We all can do better, you know, but being a young brother in the truth, you should be hungry. You should be hungry, man. And when you're hungry, what do? You eat. The scriptures say the Lord told Ezekiel to eat the roll. So that means to read the scriptures, read it with understanding, okay? From front to back, you read as much as you can. You read as much of the scripture as you can, and you read it with understanding. You could, like I was saying, you could get the breakdown. You can go on YouTube and get these breakdowns. We got elders that watch over our souls. They got the breakdown. They're going to give you the breakdown. Ask questions. You're a younger brother, you don't know nothing, ask questions. In the scriptures, James, the 1st chapter says, if you lack wisdom, ask of the Most High, who giveth freely and upbraideth not. So pray and fast to the Most High for more wisdom to give you that increase, man. All right, but reading, you got to read with understanding. Actually, in that verse, when you go into the word readeth, it means understanding. So blessed is he that understand what he reading. If you truly understand what you're reading, man, you're going to apply it. Continuing on, I'm going to get the next scripture, 1 Corinthians 7:31. And they that use this world as not abuse it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. Right? Because I was also making the point of you can do certain things in the world that's not off, but you have to have temperance, okay, and have discernment to keep under your body. So you won't go too far off, so you won't go off the edge, man. You use the world, which means there's certain avenues, certain people in the world you may know, in which you may have a good relationship with, and you could use them for whatever they're beneficial to you for. But you don't do it to the point where now you're being unequally yoked with unbelievers. You know? You gotta have temperance, man. You don't abuse it. You don't go overboard. Another scripture the Elder Mark put up, Ecclesiastes 11:10. Therefore remove sorrow from thy heart and put away evil from thy flesh, for childhood and youth are vanity. See, and that's a perfect precept, because you got to come out of that state of folly. And being a child, their mind is full of folly and foolishness, man, which is, once again, vanity. That's why the scriptures say for childhood and youth are vanity. Because when your youth and your childhood, you're full of more folly. You have less experience of real life situations, man. And 9 times somebody's been taking care of you this whole time you've been living. Now it's time for you to live on your own and take care of yourself, man. You know? And now you're living in Babylon. You're not raised up in the customs in which you've been taught. You live in the captivity where the enemy is raising you up, man. And you're living in the enemy's rulership. Esau, Edom. So it's going to be 10 times harder for younger brothers than it was for brothers that was born, you know what I'm saying, prior to this wicked, evil generation, man. Because it was more morals back then. It was more standards. It was way more respect. It was way more fear of the Lord back then, you know. But getting back to the point, you know what I'm saying, putting away childish things, man, like the scriptures say. When I was a child, I spake as a child, you know, but now it's time to put away childish things. Continuing on, next precept, 2 Timothy 2:22, flee also youthful lusts. See, that's another thing, those youthful lusts, man. All right, and they come at abundance. They come through urges of the flesh. especially things that you never experienced. Come, the youthful lust. Adultery is a youthful lust. You know. Now another thing that's a youthful lust now is murder, the worship of money, mammon, right? Which is really idol worship. Okay, but all of these things are youthful lust, man. Folly shit. And now in this captivity, this modern day world, folly is set in great dignity. That's why you got all of these young niggas that have a platform that's famous now, whether they streaming, whether they rappers, or whether they just known for killing niggas in the street as murderers and drill, whatever the fuck, And now I'm getting angry, man, because that's why a lot of these niggas, these young niggas, gotta get deleted, man. And then they being raised by single parent Keishas that's just fucking out of their minds, just out of this world, man. So, hey, continuing on, I'm 2 Timothy 2:22. Flee also from useful lust. You being in this truth, you can't do what all these other niggas do, man. You can't be no YN in this truth. You cannot be no YN in this truth, man. I don't care how cool it look, how cool it feel, Okay, whatever. You you got you some protection on you, whatever, man. That's another thing. That shit come with demons, man. Know what you doing out here, cause the Lord will really pull your card. If you sitting up here acting like you want to be like that, the Lord gonna try you like that, and send a spirit to you that's really like that. You ain't no, we not YNs, bro. And it's truth. So get that shit out your spirit, man. All that drill rap, drill music, man. That's another thing, bro. Listening to certain type of music, that shit put demons on you, man. Know what's good for your spirit. Continuing on, it says, but follow righteousness, faith, charity, peace with them that call on the Lord out of a pure heart. And that's what this is really about, man. That's the reality of everything, man. That's your good works. That's the good works that you want to follow you into the kingdom. That's the pattern of good works that you're supposed to follow, man. It's righteousness. What's righteousness? Righteousness is doing the work and sincerity and the truth. Reading the scriptures with understanding, applying what you're reading, practicing what you preach, and actually preaching. Putting your hand to the plow if that's what the Lord, if the Lord put the spirit on you to put your hand to the plow, you put your hand to the plow, man. The Lord put the spirit on you to prophesy, you prophesy. If the Lord put the spirit on you to be a helper or to be charitable, you be charitable, you be a helper. And you do it in sincerity and the truth, and you grow. You still get to understand it, man. Your faith, your works, according to your faith, is the righteousness. We can never do enough for the Lord, but you still do enough by keep being diligent, man. Your faith, your belief in the Lord. Your belief in the Lord has to be strong over all the doubts that come with the flesh and that Satan try to come in at these outside niggas because of their motherfucking incredulity. You gotta say, forget all of that, man. Your faith and your belief in the Lord has to be strong in order for you to continue in these works. This is your charity, your service for the brotherhood, man. That's your charity, the service for the brotherhood. All of these things, man, you have to do diligently. Peace. The scriptures talk about living peaceably with all men if it be possible. As Yasharallah, all the 12 tribes, we are naturally peaceable people, man. We are. But see, Babylon and being in this captivity has made us a different has altered our spirits, man, and altered certain with the way we think. So now we got to get back to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. The scriptures teach us how to live peaceably with all men. By following the scriptures, that's how you live peaceably. And calling on the Lord out of a pure heart. With them that call on the Lord out of That's what you're supposed to follow, especially being young in this truth, man. All right? So them demons won't get you. Because them demons out to get you, man. And they got your name. They got your number. Because the Lord got your number. It says, 1 Corinthians, it says 1 Corinthians 9:27. But I keep under my body and I bring it into subjection. What does that mean? Your flesh, the urges and the temptations of the flesh, you keep it in check, man. That's discipline. That's temperance. That's self-control. The flesh want to pop old girl over there because she look good and she smell good and she feel good, but she got to do. The time and opportunity is right there for you to do it, but she got to do. You can't do that shit, man. You cannot do it. And if you do it, know that you're going to get judged, man. It's the Sabbath, but you want to deal. And she want to deal. You can't do it. This is just an example, you know, because sex is like a very useful lust, especially that runs rampant in Israel, you know. But it's not off to do that, but it's about how you do it, man. Is you doing it according to how the scriptures say do it, to the best of your ability, you know, or is you doing it the way you want to do it? Continuing on, yes, I agree with that statement. But yeah, man, I pretty much said a lot. I don't want to prolong this lesson for real, as long as it has to go. All right, Lord willing, this was an edifying live stream. All right, to those who can receive it. And I know usually my lessons be edifying for me, you know, even sometimes I do lessons just so I can edify myself through the Spirit, you know. But Lord willing, was edifying and exhorting, giving all glory, honor, praise to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shah. Shalom, shalom. On to the next one, man.